iHealthTube. We're visiting with Nina Dongri. She's the Technical Services Manager for National Enzyme Company. Let's talk about digestion in terms of genetics. And may I give you an example?
Yes.
I'm from Virginia originally. My granddaddy used to sit and just belch after every meal. He'd erupt with belches. Well, my mother was the same way, and I've had a gas problem all my life. Is this genetic, or is it the way we eat for digestion?
It could be either one, but in this case, probably it is genetic. It is the formation of gas. Of course, it is occurring probably in the upper small intestine, and that gas is being released upward. And as we all know, it could go either way.
Right.
But usually that's the result of the lack of the action of a particular intestinal enzyme.
Which could be hereditary.
Which could be hereditary, that you have a hereditary lack of that enzyme, that particular enzyme. We see that very distinctly in the case of gluten intolerance, or really the more severe form of that, which is celiac disease. Celiac disease, or celiac enteropathy, is a genetic disorder. It is the lack of the ability to break down a certain peptide that is in certain grains, such as wheat, rye, barley, and the body sets up an immune response, a real immune response to that short peptide, and it is a hereditary condition. And so we see a lot of these digestive disorders, some of which are caused by our habits, our bad habits, but some of which, as you have alluded to, are caused by our genetics. We inherit them from our parents and our grandparents.
Okay, so if it is genetic, there are enzymes that we can take to take care of the fact that we're missing something?
Right, and I think we see that very, very distinctly in the case of lactose intolerance. That as a society in America, there are, probably less than half of Americans that are actually lactose intolerant. But if we look at other societies, other ethnicities, we see that it is very prevalent, such as in the Asian world, where upwards to 70% of the population is lactose intolerant. It is a genetic condition. Well, what do we do for lactose intolerance? We either avoid all dairy products, which is very difficult to do, or we take lactase, an enzyme that can substitute for the lack of that enzyme that would be produced in our intestinal tract.
Okay, so if it were something like wheat or something that causes gas, we're lacking this enzyme, so we have gas, is there any kind of enzyme we can take to help that?
It depends on what is missing. For certain problems, like for people who cannot eat, say, certain beans, we can take a certain enzyme, Alphagalactosidase, that will substitute for the enzyme that our bodies many times cannot produce, that breaks down these raffinose sugars. They're called raffinose sugars that are produced through the breakdown of certain, particularly legumes, some grains. And by taking alpha-galactosidase, it can alleviate some of the discomfort and embarrassment from not being able to break down those sugars, those particular sugars.
So that's why someone would say, like my granddaddy would say, I love chili, but chili doesn't love me.
Exactly, exactly, especially the chili with beans.
Right, so a lot of people have that inability to digest that, so there is an enzyme that we can take for that.
Right, right, there certainly is.
Well, that's good news for us who like to eat legumes.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of good protein in that kind of starch.
It is. And, and in this day and age when we are trying to eat more healthy, we look at the foods that are the healthy foods, which are the grains, the legumes, the cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower. And these are all the ones that typically cause those same problems. So it is nice to know that there are some enzymes, such as alpha-galactosidase, that can help in digesting those.
And that's your field of expertise.
I guess so.
All right, well, thank you very much, Nina. We'll visit again.
Thank you.